says Christian missionaries in Malaysia use the word Allah in their missionary activities. This causes confusion to Muslims and Christians. Do you think that this is wrong or right? This issue is not a simple matter to be answered in one word, yes or no. Basically, number one, we have to understand the meaning of the word Allah, and we studied in the course of Aqidah and many programs. The word Allah is the proper noun of the only true God who is worthy of worship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why in Surah Al-Ikhlas, which is equivalent to 1/3 of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, not wahid, ahad. Say that Allah is the only one. He is the only creator, He is the only sustainer, He is the only provider, He is the only king. He is the only possessor of all domain, and He is the only one who is worthy of worship. And the following traits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come in the following ayat. Allahu as-Samad. Then He begets not, nor was He begotten, and no one is ever equivalent to Him. So that means the proper noun Allah does not apply to any false deity. Rather, the word Rabb, which means Lord in English, or God, may be used to describe Allah, or to describe a family father, or to describe a lord, a position, or to describe a king, or to describe a false deity which many people worship instead of Allah or along with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in fact, the word Allah is exclusively for the only one who is worthy of worship. Some Arab Christians, they recognize their God by the name Allah as well, because they have been living amongst Muslims and so on. And they have been influenced by the Arabic language, so they use the word Allah. But it does not, in this case, refer to the true God. Yesterday, I believe, I saw a minivan, and on the rear window, somebody adhered this sticker which says, the son of the king, or the king's son. He said literally in Arabic, the son of the king, then beneath it in English, Jesus. Then on a side, Allah in Arabic. So I figured this is a confusing signal. Allah is not Jesus, nor is He the father of Jesus. Jesus in Islam does not have a father. He was born miraculously, fatherless, as we all know. So it would be best for them to use whichever name they normally use. If people use this name, like the Arab have used the word Allah before, okay? So if they were using this word and it is common in their religion, we cannot ban them from using it. But it does not describe the true God who is worthy of worship. Look at the order in Surah An-Nas. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in order to explain the difference between the word God, Lord, Rabb, and Allah. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Look at the elevation and the gradual process of seeking help from the Lord, the King, and He is the only one who is worthy of worship. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord of mankind. Yani the Creator, the Sustainer, then Malik al-Nas, the owner and the King of people, then Ilah al-Nas, the only true God who is worthy of worship. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if it was common that people use this word, no problem. But if it has been proven, as of course we were all aware in Malaysia a couple of years ago, this problem emerged when the Christian missionaries, especially in one of their popular magazines, started using the word Allah. If it is not common, they don't use it. But now they're using this word for a political or a propaganda reason to confuse the laymen, the ordinary people who do not know the difference, and they think that they are preaching to Islam. In this case, we have to intervene. But generally speaking, if non-Muslims are using this word before Islam, and it is common in their society, they call him Allah, we cannot ask them not to use the word Allah. But we can say one thing, which is قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد. I do not worship that which you do worship, nor do you worship that which I do worship. لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد. And monotheism means only one true God, not more than one. So that is simply the concept of using the word Allah and what it means, and whether missionaries are allowed to use it or not. If it has been proven that in a Muslim country they use this word in order to confuse ordinary people, then we have to put a stop to that. Once I was in the hospital, and it was an American hospital in a Muslim country. Simply because the doctor admitted me to this hospital. And I later on found out such hospitals and universities are missionary institutes. They have the mission of propagating Christianity and so on. In any case, one lady wearing full hijab walked into the room. I thought she's a nurse, and she's an old lady, and she started giving me words of patience, and that you'll be rewarded, and God loves you, and for being tested with a disease. I couldn't but agree, and I was quiet until she started admitting the poison in the honey. And she shifted from talking about God, God, God to Jesus. I said, ma'am, thank you so much. I will appreciate if you stop and just leave the room. I'm a Muslim. I know who's Allah. I'm not in need for you to help me to recognize who's Allah. Allah is one, and Jesus is not his son, etc. These guys are very organized and very dedicated. They take things gradually. So if they figure out that you are a naive, you are an ordinary person, they will talk to you in general about God and mercy and forgiveness, blah, blah, blah. Then they confuse the issues. No, God is not the one whom you're referring to. لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد. بارك الله فيكم.